We all remember the 1997 film, the romance, the music, and the heartbreak. But as the faces of the cast have aged over the last 30 years, the unsinkable ship they portrayed still rests 2 miles down in the dark of the Atlantic. While the stars moved on to other roles, for 1,500 souls, the story ended that freezing April night. Today, we look at the Titanic cast then and now, but more importantly, we uncover the haunting real-life mystery that the movie never showed you. Instead of just looking at a list of names, let's look at the people who brought this tragedy to life, starting with those who anchored the fictional romance at the heart of the film. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Dawson, and Kate Winslet, Rose DeWitt Bukater. When they stepped onto that sprawling Mexican soundstage in the mid-90s, they were rising stars. By the time the film swept 11 Oscars, they had become Hollywood royalty. Since that fateful night in 1997, both have carved out legendary, Oscar-winning careers. Their enduring real-life friendship is a comforting reminder of the survival they portrayed on screen. But the true weight of Titanic rests on the character actors who breathed life into the real historical figures, the vessels of the actual tragedy. Kathy Bates, Margaret Molly Brown. Bates brought fire and empathy to the unsinkable Molly Brown, perfectly capturing the real-life woman who famously demanded her lifeboat turn back to save survivors in the freezing water. Today, Bates remains a powerhouse in television and film. Victor Garber, Thomas Andrews. Garber gave a heartbreaking, quiet dignity to the ship's builder, a man who realized his own creation was doomed. Garber's continued success across stage and screen is a testament to the quiet strength he brought to that role. They didn't just play parts, they kept the connection to the real history alive. But while these actors were safe on a soundstage, the real passengers were looking at the lights of another ship on the horizon. The movie focuses on the isolation of the sinking ship, but the terrifying truth is that they were not alone. The SS Californian was sitting idle in an ice field just 20 miles away. Its lights were visible from the decks of the sinking Titanic. Why didn't they help? The crew of the Californian saw Titanic's distress rockets lighting up the pitch-black sky. They reported them to their captain, Stanley Lord. Some say the captain simply dismissed the flares as company signals and went back to sleep, leaving 1,500 people to freeze to death just out of reach. What do you think? Was it a tragic, negligent mistake born of confusion? Or something more sinister? The silence of the Californian remains one of the most heavily debated maritime mysteries in history. As the years march on, the line between the film's legacy and the passage of time continues to blur. We must take a moment for a final farewell to the incredible actors we have lost since James Cameron yelled "cut" for the last time. Bill Paxton, Brock Lovett, the enthusiastic treasure hunter who framed our story. Bill Paxton leans closer to the glowing monitor, Brock Lovett staring at the charcoal drawing pulled from the wreckage. At first, it feels like pure ambition, a treasure hunter finally finding his prize. Then the moment shifts, the silence stretches, and the greed gives way to something almost reverent. In that instant, audiences didn't just see and explore. They felt obsession, the kind that makes a man spend his life chasing ghosts at the bottom of the ocean. Born May 17, 1955, in Fort Worth, Texas, Paxton was 42 when the film premiered. He built a legendary career playing high-energy, unpredictable characters across sci-fi and action epics. But here, he served as our modern-day eyes looking into the past. Behind that confident on-screen bravado lived one of Hollywood's most beloved, warm-hearted, everyman actors. Tragically, he passed away on February 25th, 2017, at the age of 61, due to complications from heart surgery. Lou Poulter holds his wife tightly in the darkened cabin, Isidore Strauss resting his cheek against hers as the freezing water violently rushes beneath their bed. At first, the scene feels completely terrifying. Then the moment stills, an unshakable embrace, and the panic dissolves into absolute acceptance. In that instant, audiences didn't just see a tragic final moment. They felt eternal devotion, the kind of love that chooses to stay rather than survive alone. Born November 3rd, 1928 in Brooklyn, New York, Poulter was 69 when he portrayed the real-life Macy's co-owner who refused a lifeboat seat. It is arguably the most heartbreaking few seconds in cinematic history. Behind that quietly devastating performance lived a deeply passionate educator. Poulter spent decades as a highly respected acting teacher at CalArts, mentoring thousands of young actors rather than chasing his own fame. Regrettably, he passed away on May 21st, 2023, at the age of 94. David Warner stands perfectly still on the grand staircase, Spicer Lovejoy watching his target with a gaze that never blinks. At first, it looks like simple loyalty, a bodyguard doing his job. Then the coldness sets in, a subtle tightening of the jaw, and the quiet menace takes over the room. In that instant, audiences didn't just see an enforcer, they felt a relentless pursuit, the kind of danger that doesn't need to yell to make you terrified. Born July 29, 1941, in Manchester, England, Warner was 56 when he took on the role. Trained as a Shakespearean stage actor, he mastered the art of playing deeply chilling, sophisticated villains throughout his decades-long career. Behind those terrifying, cold-blooded characters lived a gentle, famously kind-hearted man who was revered by his peers in British theater. Sorrowfully, he passed away on July 24, 2022, at the age of 80, from a cancer-related illness. His passing marked the end of a golden era of British character actors, leaving audiences to remember how effortlessly he could command a screen with just a single, icy stare. The actors age, the mysteries endure. And 2.5 miles beneath the surface, the physical remnants of the RMS Titanic continue to slowly surrender to the sea. The movie gave us a memory, but the ocean keeps the truth. From Oscar stages to quiet, creative lives and heartbreaking farewells, the cast of Titanic left a mark on history that time will never wash away. But before we go, we have to ask you a question. Time changes everyone, but some seem to defy it completely. When you look at the women of the Ship of Dreams today, whether it is Kate Winslet, who famously refuses to hide her natural aging, or Frances Fisher, who still carries that exact same regal elegance, which Titanic actress do you think is the most beautiful today? Let us know your choice down in the comments. We read every single one. If this journey back to 1997 meant something to you, don't forget to like, subscribe to Timeless Voices, and share this video. Thank you for watching.
Silver screen.